I'm going to talk about the way forward, all right? See, what you heard today didn't exist in this area 4 years ago. It was kind of a spiritual wasteland. But God has been birthing, and he's been, I don't know, I can't even describe it. There should not be a church in Bethel this energetic for the things of the Lord. Why not? Exactly. Why not? So here we are today. Now, if you haven't noticed, things are really happening here. They are. You know, some churches simply exist to marry and bury. That's really, they go through the routine. That's really what it's about. Or they're excited about a full Christmas Eve service, right? Maybe Easter, that's about it. But see, we're so different here. We live life really on the edge. We do. We get mad at God, and then he just shows up, and we pour into others, and they get changed. It's like, what? How is this possible, right? But I love these real and raw testimonies. So we're kind of at this growth phase again, if you haven't noticed. Yeah. So over the last couple months, now this includes Christmas Eve and Bruce, but we've had 4 Sundays now that we've been over 300 people. Okay? Yeah. I know that's not about myself. It's not about Stacy, and growth is not the only goal here, all right? Hear me out on this. But see, when people encounter the living God, changed lives reproduce changed lives. You can't help but tell people about it. You got Kendra in the emergency room. She only came once telling him to go to Bluff View. You know, I mean, there's something different going on here. Now, I believe we have to count what matters, and people matter to God. See, heaven and hell are realities. They really are. And if we say, well, you know, the naysayers will say, Andy, you're all about the numbers. No, I'm really not. I'm about changed lives and keeping people from going to hell. I really am. It's really, the lost is what we really care about. So there would not be time in the next 8 hours to share every testimony over the last 8 years. Probably not even in the last 8 months. There is testimony after testimony what God is doing. And what are we doing here different? We just believe the Word of God and talk about it. That's it. Nothing strange. We say that God can impact your life right where you're at. You don't have to be a pastor to share the gospel in Walmart. So here's where we're at. Our leadership team feels a call to action. What is this action? It's to prepare and pray and remove barriers that our church can continue to be a place where people experience God's power. See, in 1901, right on this very land, there's a lady named Emma. We have this in the old record books of the old church that was here. Emma said, let's name it Bethel, for God is in this place. That's 125 years ago. She recognized there's something different. And at the end of the summer, about 5 months ago, the Lord spoke clearly that Bluff View, we must be ready in the physical body as well as the spiritual body. The word was simple but weighty. In 1 year, things would expand and explode. We're not even at the year yet. So that's why we're having this conversation. It's a fun conversation. It's kind of sad, though, for all the guys that worked in here, because eventually we're going to outgrow this place. We are. We're going to outgrow it at some point in the future. We're going to outgrow this. The kids are, last Sunday there was 12 to 14 kids just in the infant area. And that room's no sizer than that little box. That's why we have trouble getting volunteers. So, you know, the point we're at, there's some options, right? Most pastors would tell me the same thing. Andy, just go to 2 services. Just go to 2 services and that'll solve your problem, and you can milk it out a few more years. But our leadership really believes in the family model. Getting together so nobody gets lost in the mix, right? We do. So it's kind of like some of you maybe have a big family. Maybe now you have 30 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren, and they all have boyfriends or husbands, and you invite them over for your birthday, and you don't say, well, my house is too small, so we'll take a shift at 6 o'clock and then another shift at 8 o'clock, so you guys don't see each other, right? You make room. You put them in the garage. You put them in the kitchen that's way too small, right on the card table. That's just what you do. Because as family, it's not a family if you have shifts, right? We cry together and we celebrate together. Yeah. Now, I'm a numbers guy, as you know. But what's interesting is, as good as I'm at numbers, there's another lady here that's far superior to numbers. And I'm going to have Kate come up. Kate spent her whole life analyzing data. And so it's going to come better from her than listening to the excited preacher. Tell us where we're at, Kate. Give us the numbers.
So I was talking to Pastor Andy and said, wouldn't it be cool to do a regression analysis with your attendance data?
Come on, everybody excited. Regression analysis. Yeah. Tell us what a regression analysis is.
And so then he said, how about if I send you the attendance data? So he sent me the data. And so a regression analysis tells you, do we have a good story or not? And do we have a data, is it strong enough to predict our future, or does it help us plan for our future? And so what I have here is from week 1, way back in 2022, all the way up to the end of 2025. And so 1 through about 52 there is 2022. And then we go on to 23, 24, and 25. And then we put a regression line over there to tell us how strong of data we have here. And then we have, and so that line kind of evens out your peaks and your valleys. And then what you want to look at when you do a regression analysis is this R-squared number. And the R-squared number is telling us how strong of that data is to help with our prediction model. And so we have a number, usually it falls between 0 and 1, and we have almost 0.70. And so that's really strong. This is kind of basic at the same time because we can tell that we have good growth. We know just by seeing the chairs full here that we have really good growth. But nonetheless, you still want to use your data and see how strong it is. So that's what we have there. And then you can see the average attendance over on the right. And then we added just the last few months of 2025. And it's amazing, the growth that we have, just even in the last 4 months of 2025. It's amazing. So then what we do then is we're able to use this data and see what the future is going to bring. And so let's take a look at that. So we have 26, 27, and 28. If we use a 25% growth rate, you can see our numbers. And then if we have a 30% growth rate, you can see where we're going to go. That's amazing. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you, Kate. Now, what's interesting about those numbers, they're past numbers. That doesn't even stand in faith to say God said things are really going to expand and explode. Now, it's not about the numbers, but it is about people. Every life that gets touched by God, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone through the revolving door here. And when we went to the church planting seminars, they would say, don't get discouraged about the revolving door. Because people come, they get excited about God, but then the conviction starts. And God says, you can't stay the same. You're like, I'm not quite ready for that church thing yet. All right, so they leave for a while and they come back. Now that we've been doing it for 4 years, we have people that have visited on year 2 that are finally ready to join and be a part of this. So we don't get discouraged by it, but what we know that momentum produces momentum. And God's working behind the scenes so people can be free. So here's where we're at. All right, now, know this. Let's put up the slide with the number 60. Okay. It is only possible, if you don't remember anything from today, just remember 60. All right? 60. It's only possible to have relational fellowship with about 60 people. You just can't do any more. Now, think of my position. I got to remember 500 names and faces. And some of you say, well, I can't even remember one guy's name, you know? Yeah, there you go. See, but we only have about relationship with 60. And so what that means is whether we're at 60 or 120 or 1,000, you're still only going to have that 60 relationship, okay? Now, some people get really freaked out about big churches. They don't like big churches. They feel like they're not seen, they're not heard. You know, they're just a voice in the crowd. But know that if we do grow, and we are going to, we're going to make it a point to make sure that we're a small church in a big church. It can work. It can work. Small groups, different things that you can meet people, Sunday mornings gathering together as one service. It'll help us just keep that family close, all right? You know, it's a big deal where we're at right now. It really is. But know that at the last board meeting, the leadership unanimously voted to move forward with the next step, okay? And here's the next step. It's not building, all right? Building isn't the next step, so don't leave here and say, Bluff View's building another brand new church. So because I'm a part of the district, I talk to other pastors, and pastors now, when they decide to build a church or add on, it's taking about 2 years, all right? Now, we got superhuman people here that built this in 5 months, you know. But, you know, the reality is the next size project, it'll take a little longer. And so it'll be 2 years in order to, from the moment we say yes, in order to move in. And that's a long time. A lot can happen in 2 years. But we know that God's pouring out His Spirit on this region, and we got to be ready. And so what we did was the leadership unanimously voted to, let's get a set of building plans drawn up. Let's get ready, okay? That'll take about 6 months off the project timeline. So that we'll get them drawn up, we'll put them on the shelf for a while, and we'll wait for God to say, what's the next step? Does that make sense? See, God doesn't push us from behind, all right? He leads us. And the leadership feels that that's where He's leading us. We're going to get ready and be prepared, cut a little time frame off the long time it takes to build now, and get these drawings ready so that when God says yes, and we've raised the money because we don't like to go into debt, that we pull the trigger and call the backhoe and make her happen, okay? Now, these people up here are on our board. And so if you have questions, ask them. Anything. Whatever the Lord's talking to you about. And know that at the annual meeting, at our business meeting in 2 weeks, we're going to do what's called a voice vote of confidence. All right? So as a member, you're going to say yay or nay and say, yes, I believe that I'm backing the leadership to take this next step of raising some money to get the building plans done. So we're ready in case we need to build, okay? So we're going to do that at the business meeting. You're going to affirm or say, you know, you guys are all wet. And one one trigger is really people vote with their wallets, all right? They really do. If they believe in the project, they believe what God is doing here. It's like the parking lot. We asked for money to raise money to expand the parking lot. It all came in. We paid it off. We got expanded parking, and we needed it. So that's kind of the next phase now with the drawings, okay? So ask one of those guys, ask me. We'll talk about it more at the business meeting in 2 weeks. But let's make it fun. Let's stretch our faith. Ask God, could you provide so I could give into this work, right? He's an amazing God. And if you want to do that, just note the building fund on your giving envelope, or you can do that online. And if you're watching on live stream and maybe you're distant away from this fellowship, but you love what we're doing here, it's also an opportunity to give into this great work.